There are many great debates in the anime community. Anime versus manga, dub versus sub, Rim versus Amelia, Goku versus literally anyone. All of these are iconic debates that have been in the anime community for years. However, there's another debate that, while I haven't heard on the online community as much, still is a question for many trying to get into the series of Dragon Ball, so many years after its original run. That question is, while consuming the Z portion of the series, should you watch the original Z or Kai? Most would say to these people, "Yeah, you're a few years too late for this, bud." But I will attempt to, somewhat objectively, answer this question. If new fans should watch Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Kai, provided that you've already watched the original Dragon Ball, and if you don't want to read the manga for whatever reason, although you really should read it. While I haven't been watching Dragon Ball for the 20 or more years some people have, I've been watching it for enough of my life to throw my 2 cents into the ring. I'll judge it on 4 metrics, each of which having its own round: animation, soundtrack, pacing, and how well the story is told overall. Each series will gain a point for each round 1, and then at the end, whichever series with the most points wins. And as a quick disclaimer, I know many people have a lot of nostalgia for the original Dragon Ball Z, so they prefer it by default. I'm just trying to give a halfway objective answer for what's best for new fans of Dragon Ball, not invalidating the memories and or personal preferences people have for a particular series. With that said, let's get into it. Let's start with animation. Just want to say that for the sake of simplicity, I'll be lumping animation and art style together for this point. I know they're different things, but just to make it easier for everyone, we're grouping them together. I feel like most people can agree that Dragon Ball Kai just looks better. Even though it uses a lot of the same animation as the original, it does clean it up a lot and fixes some coloring stuff, such as this shot of when Vegeta and Nappa are first introduced. It also just naturally puts things in a higher resolution, but that figures since it was released a long time after Z. Some might say that the lower resolution and different coloring give the original Z a charm, but overall, I feel Kai does look better. It also got rid of this god-awful shot of Vegeta that makes me extremely uncomfortable, so you have to give it credit for that at least. But there are a lot more cases in the original Z of bad art/animation that Kai fixes, so this one is pretty easy. The point goes to Kai. However, I don't think all of their rounds will be quite this easy. Now, to the soundtrack. Well, I'm probably going to get killed for this. There's about a 50-50 chance someone finds my address and comes to my house for whatever I pick, so that'll be fun. Not gonna lie, this one is hard. For one, there are 2 different versions of the Z soundtrack. The original Japanese, produced by Shunsuke Kikuchi, and the Bruce Falconer version. Both of these scores offer their own greatness. Same with Kai. It genuinely has some amazing music, like the opening and ending, and just a lot of background music, such as the Super Saiyan 3 theme. But at the same time, I don't think I can say it's better than Z. Z has f***ing Cha-La Head-Cha-La from the Japanese version, and the iconic Vegeta Super Saiyan theme from the English. But how can I possibly disregard the amazing soundtrack of Kai? It can just be so good. So I guess the verdict is that the soundtrack for both series are just too epic, and I can't choose just one. So I'm going to do something that'll probably piss a lot of people off. I'm going to give half a point to both. I don't like to do this, but both Z and Kai have some really awesome music. Anyway, let's move on. Alright, let's go to pacing. Kai wins. Anyway, moving on. Fine. I'll go a bit more in depth than that. If there's one thing we can agree on, it's the fact that Dragon Ball Z's pacing is a tiny bit dog shit. And Kai is better in the pacing in almost every way. Hell, that's why the series was created in the first place. To have less filler, fewer unnecessary shots of characters breathing, fights that don't take 20 f***ing episodes, that kind of stuff. To give some context, the Japanese version of Kai overall has 159 episodes, while the international version has 167. Z has, I kid you not, 291 episodes. That's quite a bit longer, around 130 episodes longer to be exact. Only about 38 episodes of Z are pure filler, so even if you skip those, that's still 253 episodes. Almost 100 more than Kai. Also, in case you're wondering, Kai has 2 filler episodes, both of which are in the Buu Saga, so take that as you wish, I guess. Here's an example. Goku vs. Frieza and Kai is about 11 episodes long. Quite long, not going to lie. So let's look at Z. 12 episodes, maybe even 13? Nope, 19 episodes. That's insane. Like, really insane. Another example. The Gohan vs. Cell fight is about 6 to 7 episodes in Kai. Still not the shortest, but understandable for how big of a fight it was. In Z, that same fight is 11 episodes. The same amount of episodes as Goku vs. Frieza in Kai. At least that fight in Kai is considered mixed canon / filler, but none of the Gohan vs. Cell episodes in Z are considered as such. They're considered to be manga canon. So, I think we can safely say that Kai wins this round by a long shot. Anyways, moving on. Now, let's get to how the story is told overall. Also, just to keep things interesting, this round will be worth 2 points. I feel like this is almost like a melting pot of all the other rounds, because all of them do contribute to this. So, because Kai won animation and pacing and halfway won soundtrack, you would think it would easily win this round. Not exactly. And that's because, odd as it may sound, the filler of DBZ. Now, the filler of Z isn't exactly known for being good, let's just say. Despite that, there is some really good filler that, dare I say, makes the story better. The filler near the beginning of the series, with Gohan training with Piccolo, is one of my favorites, for example. Maybe even some of my favorite episodes. Some other examples are the Otherworld Tournament, even some of the early filler of the Buu Saga I enjoy. Yes, I do enjoy Gohan's adventures in high school, f*** you fight me. And of course, the iconic driving episode, which was simply amazing. And a lot of that, I would argue, gives the story more depth and makes it better. However, on the other side of things, you have some less than great filler, let's just say. The fake Plant Namek arc and the Garlic Jr. arc are just some instances of some awful filler. And despite my praise for Gohan's training, Goku's shenanigans on Snake Way around the same time were not nearly as enjoyable. And now you have Kai, which cuts out most of the filler and gets to the point. And it is a lot closer to the manga. However, because of that, parts that Gohan's training can feel bare bones, at least to me. I know I'm bringing that up a lot, I just really like what the original Z added to his training. I love those episodes, can you blame me? So, is Z better? Can't really say it's better with some of the meaningless filler it adds, but at the same time, it's hard to give Kai the win. Despite this, Kai probably does objectively contain the better story. And that's what I'm measuring here. As much as I love some of what Z added, I can't let that get in the way. Just to give Z a little bit of credit, I'll give Kai 1.5 points and Z the remaining 0.5. So, as much as it might not be a surprise to some, Kai wins 4-1. I try to do this objective as possible and hope I succeeded. I do have some bias for Kai since that was actually my first exposure to Dragon Ball, but I did try to keep that out of the rounds. While Kai may win, and I would recommend it if you want to get through that part of Dragon Ball quicker, Z still does have some value, even in 2022, given that you have some spare time and a shit ton of patience. Anyway, if you enjoyed, consider liking the video, and subscribe for more anime content in the future, and tell me what you agreed or disagreed with. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. This has been Anime Savvy, and I'll see you next time.